Yeah, right here.
With the Bandit Signs, I'm from Delaware. I'm doing an event in Dallas too, a couple weeks. Heads up.
Oh, nice.
With the Bandit Sign thing, how many would you feel like is too much to start off? Because I'm not really cause I tend to kind of run with things. Some people try to move too fast. I stutter a lot. You feel me? You see how I'm
talk
going.
fast.
That's all right.
Listen, what can you afford to consistently do on a weekly basis?
On a weekly basis?
Like how many Bandit Signs?
Honestly, I could probably spend 200 realistically, weekly for that.
So what you would do is take your budget and buy Bandit Signs for the month, and then consistently go out and do that. And if you can buy them for 2 months, go and buy them. And then when you get to that replenish period, because you know it takes 2 weeks to order and ship, right. You order when you're 2 weeks almost done, and you do it. That's how we do it. So we put out 100 Bandit Signs every single week.
Okay.
Every single week, like clockwork.
One more thing, you said in one of your videos, the website you get your Bandit Signs from?
Dirt Cheap Signs, I believe it is.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they're the only people that really do it.
That's who. Look,
Yeah, we
we
use
watched
them
that
too.
same video,
I've been
brother.
trying to find a discount code for years. I've been able to find none.
That's who we get ours from.
I haven't bought my own machine. I haven't set it up yet.
Way in the back.
I have two questions.
Reggie.
With the advancement of technology, where do you see this industry going in the future? A lot of realtors, they use virtual reality for tours and things like that. So where do you see this industry going? And also, would you recommend having your real estate license just because of the different laws and traveling and stuff like that?
Yeah, I say with the technology, we all have these things in our pocket. You can run $1 million business from your iPhone these days. There's so many websites, there's so many apps that you can use. So first of all, use the technology that's out there. You can use, a drone to take aerial pictures of your house, all that stuff, and it's getting cheaper and cheaper. As far as being a realtor, I'm not a licensed realtor. I kind of like that because I don't have as much disclosures to do. Again, my wife is going to get licensed because we get hundreds of leads coming in. Not every one of those leads will be wanting a cash offer or be willing to sell for wholesale. 90% of them are going to want retail. So right now we're having to throw away, actually we don't throw away a lot of them. We send them to realtors, and if the realtor closes it, we work out some type of split. But it's good to have your real estate license because, again, if 9 out of 10 leads aren't going to want to sell cheap, you can maybe list that property and you get a commission on it.
But do you need it?
Not a necessity, though.
Don't make that a block where you don't start until you get your license. I hate that.
Right.
Yeah.
After getting into a couple of wholesale deals, I don't know if you guys do it, but do you guys find that it's easier to work with Section 8 or anything like that, or just go through regular rent?
We have.
If you're buying and holding.
Kind of
So he asked about Section 8. Should you rent the Section 8 after you close a couple of deals? We have a combination. We have market rate tenants in some of our buy and hold properties. We also have Section 8. I don't have any type of bias against Section 8. I grew up my whole life on Section 8 right in Roxbury. You got people who in Section 8 who take very good care of properties, some that don't. But, as long as they pay, their rent,
Right.
rent's due on the 1st, it's late on the 5th, you getting served on the 8th. That's for everybody.
Listen, I need that check. Let's go for the back.
Sorry.
Max, I've seen your video on getting discounts for the source. We use yellow letters. So if I don't utilize that, are there any other ways to get cheaper pricing?
Yeah. When did you start this business?
I wouldn't say a couple months ago.
Yeah. So I'm going to piggyback off his question about technology. So even the short amount of time that I've been in this business, 2.5 years, the things have really became much cheaper. I used to pay $1.50 per skip trace. That's what it used to cost to skip trace. So when I see people talk about, and list source 2 years ago was 30 cents a lead. Wow. So when I see it down to 3 cents, I'm like, oh man, I love spending $10,000 on data, just hitting that button, because I know it used to be 30,000, right? So it's just crazy. There is no cheaper way that I've found. Now the cheapest way and the best way is to curate your own list by playing downtown at the courthouse or seeing what's available online. And I think that's where a lot of people miss opportunities, because where does all data come from?
Public records.
Public records.
Courthouse.
So if you're buying it from a third-party source, you're paying for convenience, right? But if you can get it yourself from the county, then that's the way to do it. Now, I have this thing that most people don't do in their business. I have a master list. You guys have a master list? So we have a master list of every single property in the counties we play in. every single one of them. We put them in. I have a list manager, and I put them in. Every property. I have them in a list, and what this list does for me, it checks for vacants every 4th of the month and stuff like that. But I have every property in my entire 3 counties that I work in right on my computer, and it's updated every single month. If you find a way to get that, I got it for free, but if you find a way to get it, you can just put it on the Excel sheets and then move it over to your data. There is no cheaper way to get, back to your question, there is no cheaper way to get data other than going and doing it yourself, which can actually be more rewarding than buying it. Because I have 2 strategies. I have my wide strategy where I buy lists from list source, listability, and stuff like that. And then I have my deep is where I actually go out and procure it because I know it's straight from the horse's mouth. It's the freshest data. And it only costs me enough for an employee that spends a day down there or a robot that I built that pulls it from an online source. So yeah, take advantage of how cheap it is now because like South Carolina just cut off all their data. So you no longer can get data from South Carolina. So when that happens, then you got to be resourceful and go back to be able to get it yourself. You know what I'm saying? So take advantage of the 3 cents. I know when you start off, it's good, but when you start off, you actually should be buying data anyways. Yeah. It's for the bigger players. And that's why when people start, I say go back and watch my first video and then come your way up. Because now I'm talking from the perspective of I have 10 employees, right? But then I do videos on this is what you should do if you just started. Right. So don't go buy data now because you can't handle it. It's actually a waste of money because you're just looking for one deal, right? I need 8 or 9 or 10 to make my company function. You don't need that. So that's why we go out and buy lists and stuff like that. So go granular, drive for dollars, and then find, like if you're a tax deed state or you can get that information online, go deep on that and take advantage of that you can get it for free. Right here, I haven't heard from you.
You said you put $200,000 into yourself. Is that a mastermind or?
So I have one mastermind that was $25,000 a year. I've just done all types of training, one-on-one trainings. So I'm doing training now on multifamily investors. So I have a one-on-one. So usually at this level, I don't go to the class level. I'm buying the guy's direct time, right? So I'm one-on-one with him now because I need to speed up that process. I don't want to go through the whole thing. So I need to say, look, I'll fly to you, once a month. I'll give you 30 grand, right? And that's how.
But that 30 grand will make him 2-3 million.
And that's kind of exactly how we started masterminds, and now we've gotten into going directly to the person. I just told my husband now, I said, listen, I found a one-on-one. I said, I'm good with spending money, I'm telling y'all. But I told you, I'm the visionary. So I know which direction we need to move in. One of them was also right now our buying criteria for us to buy and hold is multifamilies. So just like he said, we are looking for a specific coach for multifamily investments. But I told him a couple days ago, I said, listen, I found someone that we need to do a one-on-one with, pay them whatever they need on using other people's money. Something very specifically detailed. There's ways that you can become millionaires not ever having to tap your own money. And we've done it a few times, but now we need to take it to the next level. Yeah. So in order for us to do that, we're not doing no mastermind. I don't want to hear from 20 other people at the table. I just want that one-on-one direct attention.
And when you get to that level, you can afford it, you do it.
Right.
Way in the back there?
Yeah, so let's say you're in a life situation where you don't want to fire your boss like Krystal just yet, and maybe you do want to do
That's a friend of mine. It makes about 300K a year.
Role for that, or how do you kind of get started with that and partner up with somebody like yourself?
Man, that's a hard one. I get on. Anybody watch my videos? I got on Brian about that. Yeah. It's hard to pull away from that bottle nipple sometimes, man. I understand it, but when you do it and you're competent, you don't worry about it. I mean, there's just a risk you have to take because I'm pretty sure even if you leave that job, you'll be able to get something back if all else fails, right? It may not be what you wanted, but sometimes the risk is worth the reward. I mean, even Mr. Robinson said that he held on to his too long. Yes. And I mean, this guy's probably, I don't even want to say what he's probably worth, but he's worth a lot of millions. And he said, if I didn't hold on to that job as long as I did, I'll be much bigger than I am. It's the same thing I told Brian, especially if you know you can do it. Like Brian, I hate to pick on him because he's not here and he can't defend himself, but he was making X amount of dollars at Exxon, 6 figures, and then making 6 figures part-time doing this. One required 60, 70, 80 hours a week. One required 10. It's not a hard decision to make when you're a mathematician.
Now, there are hacks, though, to it.
Yes.
One is get a wife.
So
No, Kyle. I'm just saying. That's a good way to go about it, too.
we're gonna find you.
Or there's people who, like my husband, he's still in corporate America. But my husband works like 10 hours a week, right? About 10, 15 hours a week. He's high 6 figures. He loves his job and is more full-time in real estate. Now, if it ever flip-flopped where he was now having to put in 50, 60 hours a week, he wouldn't be there anymore. But he literally works about 10 hours a week.
Well, that's a good trade. He's going.
And
And
gets his...
I know a lot of you guys are probably you have full-time jobs. And again, I still have a W-2 income. I still have a full-time job. I make comfortably over 6 figures. It doesn't take a lot of my time. That's why I keep it. Another reason I keep it is because getting bank financing. So if we want to take down a property, it's harder when you're self-employed if you don't have consistent income for years and years. So I can walk into any bank. I got an 800 credit score. They look at my income. They look at my credit score. We'll give you whatever loan you want, best interest rates. So we're able to take down a lot more properties because I still have that. So your job could be a benefit. Again, we do part-time. We're doing multiple 6 figures in this business. I want to get to a point where our passive income, meaning our income from our rentals and our investments, exceeds what I make from my job, and then I can walk away.
Sounds like Brian.
And there you go.
There's two perspectives. I just jumped out the water. I just had to.
He jumped out the window, but he grew some wings on the way down.
Where we at? Go ahead. You
In the back,
better.
got blue. Yep.
Yes, yes. Quick question. In regards to when you identify a motivated seller and they say yes, can you talk about the paper trail to get the check in your hand, what you use in terms of the contracts?
So I'll tell you from the Massachusetts perspective, since we're in Boston, we use a purchase and sale agreement. So we use the real estate board's purchase and sale agreement. So they say, yes, you can buy my house, $500,000, let's do the deal. We write up the contract, we put our name on it. I don't put my name, Dedric Polite. I put B Polite Properties, LLC as the buyer, and then I put and or assignee. That's the key. Your LLC name and or assignee as the buyer. That gives you the right to assign your contract to another party for a fee. That's how you make money as a wholesaler. And then we have a specialized addendum to the contract that give us out clauses, such as an inspection period, such as mortgage contingency, different things, so that if you need to get out of the contract, you won't lose more than your deposit. So typically in North Carolina, because it's a lower market, we're buying houses for $20,000, $30,000, $50,000. We put down a $100 deposit. Yep. In Boston, you're dealing with $1 million properties. So you're gonna have to put down more. We typically put a $1,000 deposit to $5,000 in Boston as a deposit. So again, you got this property under contract. It's an assignment clause in it, and now you can go and market that to cash buyers. You can say, hey, look, I got this property on Bowden Street. It's a 3-family. I got it locked up for $500,000. I'll be willing to take $50K for it. You could disclose what you have it for, or if you could choose not to. And then if they can give you the $50,000, they'll actually step into your place and they'll close on it with the buyer, and you'll get your check at the closing.
Did you say you go straight to purchase and sell?
Yeah, we don't do offer to purchase. We go straight to purchase and sell.
So for the counties that you choose, would you say that you make more profit in places like South Carolina than in Boston and in New York?
No, it's flipped. We make more profit per deal in Boston because the average home is $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. So you make a lot more in this market.
Per deal, but they get more deals
get
down.
more
But they get
deals
more deals down
in North Carolina.
Yep.
Way
Back on
more.
the purchase and sale, is there two questions? Is there a time frame? Do you kind of like give yourself 15 to 30? And does it have to be attorney? Massachusetts, you have to run to an attorney and set up the purchase and sale?
That's a good question. So we have a real estate attorney that we work with that's investor friendly. We typically put 45 days.
What does that mean, investor friendly? Because I hear that a lot.
So most real estate attorneys and even real estate agents aren't going to understand what you do as a wholesaler.
No clue.
When you're gonna tell them I want to wholesale a house, they're gonna be like, you can't do that. That's illegal. This is Massachusetts. You'll get sued. Forget about that. You need a real estate friendly attorney that, hey, when you talk to that attorney, hey, my name is Jamal Adrian. I'm an investor. I'm going to do some assignment deals. I'm a wholesaler. Have you done assignment deals before? Have you worked with wholesalers or cash buyers before? You're interviewing that attorney. So that's the first thing. And also you want to give yourself 45 days to market that property. So if I get a property on the contract on March 1st, I'm going to set the closing date for April 15th to give me enough time to market that property and get it sold.
Something that we learned from Max's first meetup when we went, his attorney was there. And Max then spoke about, like, listen, I don't close with no attorney but my attorney. He was like, my attorney controls the deal.
It's written in the contract, I do.
Exactly. So we really adopted that for us as well, because you know sometimes they're like, oh, I want to close with my attorney, and
All right, cool. Next
we'll
part.
be like, oh, okay. After we did that meetup, we was like, nah, our attorney, our ways, that's it. So look for investor friendly, and like
it really
he
just means an educated attorney.
basically. Basically, because if they don't know how to handle investors, you don't want to deal with them.
We have an attorney here, Mr. Eddie Jenkins, who's also an investor. He's been here for years.
So and you're gonna go to them and you're just gonna say, you know, Mr. Jenkins, hey, I'm an investor. I'm a new investor. I'm gonna buy some properties. I'm gonna keep some. I'm gonna wholesale some. Do you work with investors that do those type of things? He's gonna say, yeah, I'm very familiar with that. Great. That's it. What's your process? Do you like certain documents? Because every closing attorney or title company likes to see certain documents that they're comfortable with, and sometimes they'll provide them to you. Because it makes their process easy.
And if you're in the Massachusetts area and you're looking to get into this, right after this is over, you should be speaking to Mr. Jenkins. Like, hey, how you doing?
Now don't forget time is money, so don't be go asking him. He ain't here to teach you real estate. He's here
Right.
to close your deal.
So you guys started out with attorneys when you first
Yes, you have to.
Well, we're an attorney state, so.
Yep.
But you gotta understand, it's their business to close deals.
Yeah.
So they want your business. So if you can come with them with the proper documentation, they'll close it because that's how they earn a living. So, like, go to them. That's why it's interviewing. So they work for you because you're bringing them this business. Yes, you're getting paid. He's getting paid, but they work for you. It's a service they provide. So just interview the right ones, and you'll get it. Yes.
Question. I just wanted to hear about. You said that when you find your brushes at home, you start to cold calling, which you didn't really want to do. But if you can just give me an insight into your scheduling for like the first quarter. What did life look like? Being at home, being a visionary, and what was your goals? What was you looking for? I know you're looking for that first deal, but did you have a goal of in the first quarter as a visionary, I must make 30 grand. I must get 10 assigned contracts done and closed.
Great question.
I love the accent, by the way.
Yeah. She asked, what was my schedule like when I first fired my boss? What was my goals now being unemployed? She was trying to be nice about it, y'all. How was we gonna eat? That's what she was trying to say. What it actually was is I didn't set an amount. I know my husband probably did because he's all about them dollars. But I said, listen, I want to get 10 appointments. If I can get 10 appointments for my husband to go on, I go with him, but I don't do any talking because if they say, hey, I want 80,000, I'm like, okay.
So no.
That's
40.
literally me. So I stay in my lane. And I said, listen, if I can get 10 appointments for him to go on, that's where I started with. And by me calling and calling and calling and actually hearing, no, I'm sorry, I'm not looking to sell my house, or no, that ain't even my property. Like, you hear a little bit of everything. But our company is called Be Polite. So no matter what, I stayed polite and I moved on to the next one. When I watched his, it was at one of his meetups, and he said, someone was real nasty to one of the callers. So my first person that I got that was real ignorant to me, he said, he had did something where he had sent So like he had switched his mailers around and spammed this dude with like mad mailers or something because he was like so mean. So I went to my husband. I was like, yo, this dude was mad ignorant. We should do what Max said. He was like, no, we're not doing that. But it hurt my feelings. But I said, you know what? Let me move on. So literally within like the first 30 days, I think we might have went on like 20 to 30 properties. We had within the first 3 days, we had 3 contracts out.
And it's just taking massive action, isn't it?
That's literally all it was me now doing what my husband kept trying to tell me to do. Watch these podcasts, watch the YouTube. That should tell you how much I was doing it, right? Watch this YouTube. Every time of it, did you see Max's new video? Did you see this person's new video? And I'm like, dude, no, I'm not watching those. Like, just tell me what they said. That was what I kept saying. I was like, just tell me what they said. He was like, no.
Gotta watch it.
You gotta watch it yourself. So when I actually started, and I started watching this stuff and listening, my goals started getting bigger and bigger. Now, since I handle all lead gen, it's like, yo, listen, we need to be doing X, Y, and Z. We need to be doing.
She's on me now. I got you this lead. Did you close it?
Right.
What did you say? Did you close them?
Literally.
It's hard to get them. The good ones, it's hard to get them.
It is. And when I line him up, I want him to knock him out. So when he don't, we have a whole meeting. Well, why not? What did you say? We not?
We do.
We have a whole
I need
meeting.
better leads.
And that's why I told y'all been out here, y'all better get y'all girlfriends, get these wives together, and make them a part of your team. Literally, I tell people all the time, if you are married, sorry, Max, if y'all are married and you have a girlfriend, there is no reason why. No reason why they should not be a part of whatever you're doing. Because if they're not, it's kind of hurting you. When we are in the house, we talking real estate all day, every day. If he don't close the deal a couple days ago, he went on an appointment with our acquisitions manager. They went on an appointment, met with this lady, and he was like, well, you know, she's owns 2 homes right next door to each other. She had told him all this information. He came back. This is the benefit of having 2 people.
So I tell her about what they say.
Told me
to get
everything
her
he
feedback.
said. I'm more into reading people, understanding people. My husband is more into numbers. People will say stuff to him all day and they'll fly right over his head because he's just like, well, listen, the data supports, the numbers support this. I listen to pain points. So when he told me what she said, I said, okay, you're going back and this is what you need to do. She said she wants to get her house fixed up with the money from the other house that we're trying to buy. You were there with our contractor. He should have been like, not a problem. My contractor's right here. Let's walk on over to your house and give you an estimate. We're going to tell you, and I always tell him, let them know, whether you go with us or not,
We'll help you out.
we want to help you out irregardless. So literally, he called our contractor back and was like, hey, we got to go back. And called the lady back up when the appointment went today.
He's going to do the estimate today.
Do the estimate today. And she was just like, oh, wow, thank you. We appreciate it. But it's more so, this is a people business. If you are a people person, you can hear their pains. You can even deal with them when they say F off to you. You will get a lot more deals. Because I done been screamed on, yelled at, you people. And then just because of me being really polite, well, you know, I apologize for being so nasty to you. You know, I apologize. But that's a part of the business. So set your own goals at your own pace, but you got to have them. Don't no one jump into real estate and don't have some sort of goals.
And that's why I used to call 200 people a day, is because I needed 40 contacts. I needed to speak to 40 people every day. So so I got that number, and it usually got me 40 people I talked to. Even if they said, no, it's not my property, it's still 40 people I talked to.
Now, is that how you got the one? No. Because how you got the first deal was
Driving for dollars,
right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In your own neighborhood.
Yep.
Okay,
Go.
but your cold calling strategy was the
Because I blew money on mail that I shouldn't have when I made my money.
Gotcha.
And then when I decided it was cold calling worked, and then I did it at scale, and we just started growing the ROI on cold calling was way tremendous.
And you can find deals anywhere, just to let you guys know. And then we're gonna go to you in the back. Our first deal was off of Facebook Marketplace.
My second deal was off of Craigslist.
Anywhere. And my husband talked to this lady for how long?
About 11 months before we closed on it.
Max, I know you said you got your start with a lot of probates. So I do the same thing. Do you talk more with the families or the attorneys?
I've never talked to a probate attorney, and that's just why, maybe because of the way North Carolina is set up. So I'm speaking from a North Carolina perspective, but I know that the decision maker is still the family. So I always try to get with them, even though they might have an attorney advising them. They still can go in the direction they want to go. So you always want to befriend the family.
Yep.
You go first.
Question about, you said you go straight to P&S on this for wholesaling.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point do you assign your contract for a potential investor if you go straight to P&S? Because right after that, you're scheduled to close.
So when I signed the P&S with them, I give myself 45 days to close. I say, listen, Mr. Jones, I got like 3 or 4 rehabs I'm doing. We're going to close this out in 45 days. I work with a couple different business partners, so I may close on it in my entity, or one of my partners may close in their entity. That's my cash buyer.
You're still getting your money.
Yep.
Exactly.
All they know is that they assured that they're gonna get that $500,000, and if you set what you call that, set the expectation for the seller.
But where does it happen though? Because typically at the P&S, you're going, like you're getting the commitment letter and things like that. Like, so at what point do they take the property? Now the investor get the property.
When they close on it.
So you do it at the closing table when it actually gets assigned to them.
Well,
No. I do. Yeah, we do an assignment. We get a deposit. So you're a cash buyer. You're an investor. You want to buy one of my deals. You'll give me $2,500, $5,000 deposit when we sign that 1-page assignment contract.
Yeah.
I'll take your deposit, and then when you close on it, I'll get the remainder of my funds as the wholesaler.
So basically, he has a contract, and that contract gives him equitable interest in that property. And he's going to sell it, but he's going to sell it via another piece of paper. This paper is going to say, hey, I have a contract on this property. I'm going to sell it to you for this amount. Sign this, give me a deposit. Put that together, you now have an agreement between the cash buyer and the Be Polite Properties that he has to execute the contract based upon what he already agreed upon with the actual seller.
Got it.
Not changing anything.
So technically speaking, it doesn't have to be your closing attorney. It can be their own closing.
No, because in my contract, it says who the closing attorney is going to be.
Got it.
You could use somebody else's, but he specifies in his contract.
But the reason why you do that is because my attorneys close hundreds of deals for us. So he understands the process. And all attorneys, they're not all created equally, but they all get title insurance and they all go through the same bar. No attorney wants to lose their license. So we have our attorney do all our deals, and we rest assured that the buyer say, listen, this attorney's been doing this for 17 years. You're going to get title insurance. And then they relax their mind and say, hey, and then he's probably cheaper than most people anyway.
Okay.
I'm going to use that.
He had a question.
In terms of, I guess, on this for Ms. People and Max, in terms of, I guess, probates, how do you go about dealing with those? Sometimes I'm on phone calls and I'll be like, hey, how you doing? This is Miss So-so. They'll be like, nah, she's dead. I'll be like, damn.
Well, where we're at, we see who's the deceased, and then we see who actually has control of the property. We're calling the person who has control of the property.
Yeah, mine's from like a blindness source.
Oh no, I don't buy no probate lists. I go straight to the courthouse, and we literally. Well, I don't do it anymore. We take pictures. We got that from Max too. Take pictures, upload it into a spreadsheet, and then they're calling. I was calling it first. Now our transaction coordinator will call whoever's on that list from the pictures, and we keep calling until we reach someone to say, either I want to sell or I don't want to sell, or it's already been sold. By that time, the person's been dead and in the ground, so they done grieved already. Y'all ain't got nothing to worry about.